Hi there, BookTube. We are going to talk about 10 books that I wish I would have gotten to in 2017. I have 5 books that came out in 2017. I'm really disappointed with myself I didn't get to in 2017. And I have 5 books that I couldn't wait to read in 2017 and still haven't read. So yes, let's get started. The Lost Plot. This is the 4th book in the Invisible Library series. It's about a librarian that works in the biggest library in existence, and she's able to jump between worlds and steal books from there to add them to her library so that the most important works are not getting lost. And it's so fun. And I still haven't read this, even though it was one of my most anticipated books, and I pre-ordered it and it got to me in December and I still haven't read it. I cannot wait to read this, so I will do that in 2018, which is not something I will say for every single book on here, but that book is going to happen, as will this book, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I heard that if you love the second book, you will love this. I still am hesitant to pick it up and read this book because I heard that quite a few people didn't enjoy it, so I'm kind of hesitant to read it. I will read it in 2018. Next one is These Ruthless Deeds. This is another book in a series. See a trend here that I started, I loved, I pre-ordered, as I did with those 2 books. Pre-ordering doesn't work for me, by the way, so I stopped doing that in 2018. I cancelled all the pre-orders I did so far, so no longer doing that until I read every single book I have on my shelves that I pre-ordered. Getting back to this one, this is the 2nd book in these Vicious Masks series, I think it's going to be, or trilogy, I have no idea. I really love it. It's a series that takes place in pre-Victorian kind of era. It's kind of like reading with Jane Austen, but with supernatural elements. That is basically the best way to describe it. I loved the first book. I could not wait to get my hands on this. Almost a year later, still haven't read it. The last 2 new releases are 2 adult books. One is another series continuer that I still haven't read, and honestly, if I make it a priority in 2018 to do that or not, and that is the Song Rising. I loved the first 2 books in the series. I could not wait to read this book, but then it was pushed back, and now that I have it, I'm kind of a bit more like, I have to reread the first 2 books because it's a big world and there is lots of elements that are interconnecting in it. So I don't know if I will be in the mood for this type of story. It's a futuristic kind of world where you have powers. It's a very interconnected world and you have to be able to focus when you read this to get all the details. And I don't know if I have that focus in 2018. I was super excited to read it in 2017. And the last new release, The Girl Before. This is a crime book about a very strange house that has lots of rules, and you are not allowed to have any kind of additional things to decorate your home in other than the things that are already in your apartment. And you're not allowed to have books, for example. So that is the reason why I picked this book up, because that just sounded so utterly strange to me that I had to read it. I have no idea if I will read this. Might be a fast read, but I heard it's quite a brutal type of crime book, so I really have to be in the mood for that. We'll see how this one goes. Moving on to the last 5 books that have been on my radar or on my shelves for longer than a year. And the first one of those is 6 of Crows. Still have not read this duology, but because of all the hype and all the great things I hear about it, I'm kind of hesitant to pick it up. I have a problem with that. If I hear too many great things about a book, I'm hesitant to pick it up. I hope to do it anyways in 2018. I hear it's a very action-packed and fast and fun type of book to read, so I hope to get to this in 2018 as well. So far that's 4 books from this list that I hope to read. We'll see how that goes. The next one is by an author I love and want to back into her works, as I shared in my 6 authors I want to read more by, and that is 6 Tudor Queens, Catherine of Aragon, the True Queen. This is a 6-book series of historical fiction. Alison Weir, she's great in historical facts. I think she even is a historian. She gets her facts right, and I personally love historical fiction. If I know that what is happening around the fictional parts, all the historical parts are how it happened. It is a bit of a chunker and a bit of a slower read, I'm told. I don't mind that. I just have to finally sit down and read it. I hope to get to this. I'm not sure yet if that is going to happen or not. I might pick up something else by her instead. We'll see. but I still is one of the books I really wanted to read in 2017, but didn't. Third to last is The Underground Railroad. This book I bought at the end of 2016 with the plan as soon as it gets to me, I will read this book. It's now 2018. I still haven't read it yet. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's a historical fiction book where the Underground Railroad in the slave in America is not a thing that's just called that, but it's an actual railroad. I heard the best things about this book, so maybe it's another one of those types of books where I heard so many great things about it. I still want to really read it, but at the same time, I'm not setting myself the ultimatum. If I'm still not in the mood for it in 2018, that's fine. I have waited so long now, it can wait another year. If you read it and loved it and say I have to read it this year, let me know in the comments. And those were 10 books that just fell. The last 2 books are kind of classic or modern classics. The first one is the African Trilogy. Everybody that read this book raved about it and said it's a must read. It's a great view into African history and a great view into African lives and how Africans see the rest of the world and how the rest of the world views Africa. And it's just one of those books that if you're interested in culture and in racism and kind of seeing where it comes from and how you might be able to change it, but at the same time how it affects everybody that is treated with racism, this is the book to read. I would be happy with myself if I read Things Fall Apart, because that's the first book in this bind-up, so if I get to that, I will be very happy with myself. If I don't get to any of them, that's fine too. And the last one is The Night Manager. I wanted to read this book because my mom and I watched the mini-series The Night Manager. We loved that series. It's a mini-series. I think it has six episodes, done so fantastically well. We just love everything about it. It's one of the best series we watched. I had to get the book and read the book and see how well the book is done. And yeah, it looks beautiful on my shelves anyway. So even if I don't read it in 2018, it's still pretty to look at. That should count. No. Those were 10 books and I would show them to you, but they're currently lying on the floor. That's a mess to clean up. But anyway, I would love to hear the books that you wanted to read in 2017 and didn't get to, because I think every one of us has at least one book they really wanted to get to and didn't get to. Please let me know that in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in my next video, and until then, be well. Bye!